Hello and welcome back to the Pro AV Technology podcast. My name is Marius, and today I'll be going through part 4 of my basic principles of a PA system, and part 4 is centered around line array PA system. So without any further ado, let's go through part 4. So far, what have we discussed? So we've discussed the following: how a PA system works and its intended function, basic elements of how to connect a PA system, and splitting this up into the signal flow, which is sources, modifiers, and destinations. The types of PA systems: a full range point source PA system, two-way PA system, three-way PA systems, and distributed PA systems. And then obviously explaining the fundamental differences between a two-way and a three-way PA system, and the advantages and disadvantages of distributed PA systems. So today's article, that'll cover how line array systems are used, its origins, basic configuration, and why they are so important to make use of in modern times. I'll go through a quick history lesson here with regards to where line array systems originate from and what is a line array system. So the term line array is used to describe a speaker system having multiple speaking units with the same characteristics arranged vertically and fed in phase to emulate a linear acoustical source. Okay, it is a series of loudspeakers that covers the same frequency range and is stacked above one another. The key to a line array is that the speakers face slightly different vertical angles, allowing them to consistently cover a greater depth of field than a single PA speaker can. Essentially, a line array PA system provides a very narrow vertical output pattern useful for focusing sound at audiences without wasting output energy on ceilings or empty air above the audience. They have become the go-to choice for large concerts and arena shows due to the exceptional or excellent projection of sound over long distances. Okay, hope that explains it. But I mean, feel free to go read through it. It's there for you to read on the actual blog. So, what is the benefit of a line array PA system? So I go through describing a line array PA system and comparing it with a traditional point source speaker. So for instance here, a point source speaker, if it's close to an audience, it'll be loud. Let's say for instance you've got an audience sitting in front of a normal point source speaker. The first person in front here at 1 meter will experience that speaker to be very loud. Go 2 meters back, you start losing sound pressure. Go a little bit further back, you start losing more sound pressure, and you go further back, and so on and so forth. And by the time you get to, say, a person that's quite far away, you've got a significant drop in sound pressure. Obviously, as you can see here, the sound pressure here is measured in decibels, and this diagram here is describing the attenuation over distance, which means, for instance, the person in front here will get the full load or the full volume of that speaker, and the person maybe behind that person will start losing say maybe 6 decibels, 12 decibels, 18 decibels, and so on and so forth, and at 24 decibels at 18 meters. So more attenuation over distance is sound pressure attenuates by 6 dBs for each doubling. So sound pressure is thus affected to a greater degree by distance, resulting in an excessive in front of stage volume. Hence what I explained. So if you've got a point source speaker, the person sitting in front will get the brunt of that audio. So line array speaker systems was designed to obviously overcome this. So over a longer distance, you've got less sound pressure level drop over that distance. So for instance, if you've got a person sitting at 1 meter, you've got 92 decibels. 2 meters, 4 meters, 8 meters, you've got far less sound pressure level loss as compared to a point source speaker. So for instance, if you're sitting at 16 meters, like I've obviously got here in these 2 diagrams here, with the point source speaker you lose at least 24 decibels at 16 meters, whereas with the line array you only lose about 12 in some cases. So less attenuation over distance, i.e. sound pressure attenuates by 3 decibels for each doubling. So sound pressure is not affected as much by distance, so in front of stage volume does not need to be excessive. Okay, hope that makes sense. So, differences between point source and line array systems in terms of clear sound reinforcement. So, as you can see here with this diagram, if you've got a point source speaker in the hall, that speaker will tend to reflect off of every single surface in the room, the floor, the ceiling, you know, it doesn't matter where it is, it'll reflect, which means it's not a very direct sound. If you look at a line array system, it's definitely a lot more direct, because you can fine-tune that system, and it's been designed in such a way where those sound waves disperse a lot less in the vertical plane compared to a point source speaker. So again, another benefit with a line array system is that it's less prone to microphone feedback. So if you look at a standard speaker or a point source speaker, a microphone will pick up far larger amounts of energy, and then obviously that'll cause a lot more feedback. But with a line array system, you've got fewer speakers within that line array that will pick up a microphone. So you've got a smaller amount of incident energy that'll be picked up by that microphone. So line array systems, in part, can also limit microphone feedback. So how do you predict the behavior of a line array system? Well, that's pretty simple. Majority of manufacturers nowadays have got their own sort of software that they've obviously created and designed alongside their line array systems. So you could accurately predict the behavior of a line array system. So it's all software based. Some manufacturers even provide online software where you actually put in the size of the venue, how your speaker is, your speaker cluster is, how many speakers you're using in that cluster, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of variants of things that you put in, which then will give you this sort of graph on how your sound will disperse throughout that venue. So as you can see here with the line array, there'll be very little audio going up to the ceiling because the speakers themselves are not pointed up at the ceiling. But obviously this line array system here for this example is curved, so that'll cover the audience at the front and obviously further back as you go into the actual venue. So the final part of this is a basic line array PA system setup. So I'll just read through this here quickly. Depending on the brand of line array PA system and the orientation required for the use of it, the setup of a line array system can vary greatly, with most applications opting to fly or rig the system overhead. Most manufacturers will provide rigging tutorials as well as setup guides to effectively set up these systems. Very, very important to note is that if you plan on doing or setting up a line array system and you do intend on rigging it or flying it overhead, please do follow safe rigging practices. This is really, really important. Safety is paramount within this industry. Safety comes first with everything that we do. So when rigging a line array system, always follow the manufacturer's guidelines and make sure that the person installing the system are qualified to do so. So always make use of professional riggers. This is very, very, very important, like I said previously. So below I've just got an illustration of what I've created, a small stage setup. I created this in SketchUp. It's a basic indoor 1.8 meter high stage, roof beams, line array, support frame, trussing, and so on and so forth. So you can see here primarily what a line array system could look like with a full band setup. On the left and right you've got your line array stacks, and then at the bottom, at the foot of the stage, you've got all of your subs. Depending on the application and obviously the venue, you might not want to put your subs on the floor. You might want to rig your subs depending on the manufacturer of that specific system. They either go behind or they go on top of the actual line array system. But it all, like I said, it all depends on that actual manufacturer. So, quick recap. So what have we learned with line array PA systems? Line array PA systems deliver sound reinforcement with more consistent sound pressure and clear sound reinforcement compared to a point source PA system. They are definitely less prone to microphone feedback compared to point source PA systems. Manufacturers provide software to calculate sound pressure within a specific venue to help audio engineers and designers to determine the best possible audio coverage. Okay. When rigging a line array system, always follow the manufacturer's guidelines and always make use of safe rigging practices. Like I said, that's really, really important. Okay. Right. So that brings us to the end of part 4. Next up, we start exploring video systems, and I'll look into all aspects of the video industry and how we've come to learn and how we work in the industry. I'll look into projection screens, LED screens, commercial LED screens or panels, touch screens, video camera systems, broadcast video systems, video switches, you name it. I'm going to go through it over a couple of different articles, definitely more than 4 parts because there's so much to cover. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this series based on the basic principles of the PA system. Thank you very much. This brings us to the end of the basic principles of a PA system series. I look forward to coming back and creating a video for the video systems basic principles. And with that, thank you very much. I really appreciate you all. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.